Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. If you're new here or you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and help us feed a hungry hippo. And don't forget to hit that thumbs up as you're listening along today. We are going to be looking at Plush that sold on eBay in the month of January. If you want to learn more about Plush or reselling in general, join our Facebook group, Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. I do weekly what sold on eBay videos where I go into more detail about the cost of goods on these plushies and everything else that sells. Today's video, I just want to talk about each individual plush, its brand or character, and why or why not I would source it. A lot of these are older. Plush is actually the slowest category to sell. Very, very long tail. So sometimes when I buy something, by the time it sells, it's no longer a good choice. The popularity of animals and characters can fluctuate when new movies come out, new shows come out, shows get old. Like the Frozen characters used to be popular and they're not anymore. A lot of factors can go into it. So I just want to talk about each individual plush and tell you what I think, if I would recommend you picking it up or not. Coca-Cola plush that you're looking at here, this penguin, poop. When we first started out, we soon, very early, discovered the Coca-Cola polar bears were poop. However, the other animals were still kind of viable if you could get them for 50 cents. And over time, those have lost their value. People raced to the bottom, and they've just lost popularity as well. So I don't source Coca-Cola plush anymore. This one I did source a couple of years ago. I was glad to see him finally find his new forever home. But it is a good idea to just recheck what's popular, and if a new movie comes out or a new show comes out on Disney or Nick Jr., you can always look for any plush you have of that show or movie and raise the price, because the popularity will always go up when a new movie comes out. And then just, every once in a while, maybe once or twice a year, I recheck my inventory, and sometimes I'll recomp things just to make sure that I don't have them priced too high if the race to the bottom is happening or oversaturation is happening. I do a plush guide every year. Also, I want to mention that I categorize all the plush in the guide by bolo, poop, and bread and butter based on sell-through rate and average sale price. And every year when I update it, plush move from one category to the next. What was a bolo in 22 could be poop in 23. What was poop in 23 could be bread and butter in 22, and so on. If you're interested in the plush guide, it is available for $24.99, and there is a link down below. And I believe Coke is still in the poop category on the guide. Again, the guide is based on statistical numbers of sell-through rate and average sale prices, and I can just tell you about these plush based on my personal sales. Keep that in mind. Also, there's this weird phenomenon that sometimes what does really well for one reseller won't for anyone else. And then there's things like I cannot move to save my life that other resellers do really well with. So keep that in mind. Get the plush guide if you're interested. But avoid these Coca-Cola plushies. They're not popular anymore. I really wouldn't pick these up ever, not even for 10 cents at the bins by weight. Maybe if they came in a wholesale lot, I would list them. Oh, I would. Who am I kidding? All right, next up, we're looking at this Easter plush. This is a really cute duck. Came in a wholesale lot. I'd never heard of Be Happy, but I was happy to list the duck. Easter is the highest selling themed holiday plush out of our store. We sell Easter plush all year long and more than any other holiday. Of course, as it was a generic, I wanted to make sure I had good keywords in there so you can see in the title what I put. And you want to put Easter, spring, duck, chick, all those great keywords. And Be Happy, I would pick it up again. I pick up generic Easter plush. I have a good track run with Easter plush, so I like to pick them up anytime I find them. This guy, I did mention, came out of a wholesale lot, and I do like to list everything I get in there. Here's a Woodstock. Peanuts characters, guys, oversaturated, not popular. I'm always disappointed when I pick up, I don't know why I still do it, but I still pick up Peanuts plush, and I'm always disappointed at the comps. and they do take a long time to sell. The sell-through rate on them is pretty dismal. I would pick up vintage though, and I would pick up really obscure characters like whatever Snoopy's cousin was. Remember him? This is also a Kohl's Cares. That is a good bread and butter brand typically. They do a lot of literary characters from children's books. There's some that are worth a lot of money. So don't be afraid to try them out if the cost of goods is low enough on them when you find them. Next up, we have this moose. This is Plush Parade, and by all intents and purposes, if you look at this tag, you can pretty well tell he was like a claw machine plush. But he is by the Toy Factory, which is a good bread and butter brand. They make a lot of different lines for these like claw machines. You can see his name is Merlin Moose. He's really cute. I would pick him up again. These animals like moose do really well. Here we have a Build-A-Bear. I start all of my Build-A-Bears at $18, the plain ones. I don't start any Build-A-Bears lower than 18, and you shouldn't be either. Build-A-Bear is a luxury brand of stuffed animals. You have to go to the mall to get them, and you have to build them, unless you're buying them online. But they shouldn't be any lower than 18 for what they are. And then, of course, if they're special characters or recognizable characters, especially themed, they should be a lot more, so you should be comping them. Different types of animals that aren't bears, they should be a little bit more as well. But the plain bears, the plain dogs, I never start below 18. I do run sales and do offers that put them below 18, but my starting price is always $17.99. Or actually, it's $22.49 on eBay, and then we do 20% off. But I see people listing Build-A-Bears at $12 and $14, and you really shouldn't be. Build-A-Bears, again, are a luxury brand of stuffed animals, so you should be pricing them as such. Think of them as like the mid-grade bolo of plush. They're not quite like silver jeans, but they're up there. They're pretty good. Always include pictures with measuring tapes as well, so the buyer can get an idea of how big your plush is when they're looking at the listing, because nobody reads, right? Here's another Easter plush. This is a duck. Actually, this one was at no cost to me. I've mentioned on here before. I bought a wholesale lot of clothing from someone, a bunch of it, and they threw in all the bins of plush that they had in their storage for free as well. This guy is really cute, and of course he went up because he was free, but I would source this in the wild. I really dig my Easter plush, guys. I do really well with them. So if you get generic Easter plush, you can still list it. Just use good keywords. Put the good brand names up front. If it doesn't have a good brand name, put it at the end. If it's generic, you don't need to worry about it at all. You can just make sure you have Easter, chick, duck, spring, all those good keywords in there. Wild Republic is a good brand. It's also known as K&M International. They make realistic looking plush. Most of the times they have special lines they'll do for zoos around the country. And they do a lot of more rare animals like owls and sloths and tigers and bears, oh my. But yeah, I do like Wild Republic. It's a solid bread and butter brand. A lot of their animals are going to sell for those bread and butter prices. But once in a while you can stumble upon a really good one that's going to sell for a lot of money. Owls do good too, by the way, regardless of the brand. I do really well with owls. Owls seem to have a pretty good following of people who like them and collect them. They sell a little bit faster than most other plush, to be honest, and I've had all kinds of generic even owls. Here is a pillow pet. This is a smaller one, so this isn't like a jumbo one you're probably used to seeing. This is a smaller pillow pet. I like pillow pets. They do really well. They sell pretty quickly. Of course, if you get rare animals, not just dogs and bears, they're going to sell faster and probably for a little bit more money. But that's with any of your plush. There's just some animals that are oversaturated on the selling platforms and some that are harder to find. Here's a little monkey by Aurora. I do enjoy Aurora. I keep saying that about every brand. I do enjoy it. Well, clearly that's why I'm selling it, but I do like Aurora. It's a good brand for bread and butter. And this little monkey is so sweet. Look at his little face. He's just so cute. Anytime I find Aurora for $1 or less, I will absolutely grab it. It's a solid brand. It does well. And of course, monkeys, they're one of the weird animals that there are a lot of them, but they still do well. For instance, sock monkeys. Sock monkeys are great. I haven't found a brand, whether it's a poop brand or a generic sock monkey, that won't sell quickly. I mean, when I say quickly, I mean quickly for Plush, because Plush is going to be long tail no matter what, but some do sell quicker than others. But I haven't found a sock monkey yet that doesn't sell fast, and at least for $12. Some of them are sell for a lot more than that, depending on the brand. Here is an Easter bunny by Build-A-Bear. So this is just a plain rabbit, but I call them Easter bunnies for keywords, especially when we're getting towards spring and Easter. It doesn't hurt to put Easter bunny in your title. It's a good, solid keyword for a rabbit that looks like this. It is a plain rabbit. There are a lot of these out there by Build-A-Bear, so I start these at the $18 mark. I've had some Easter bunnies that were more themed and had like Easter costume or eggs or baskets and stuff like that. And then obviously you can charge more. But again, these Build-A-Bears should not be starting any lower than $18. And speaking of their clothes, if they come with clothes, strip them down and sell their clothes separate. You will make more money that way. The only time I leave their costumes on is if it's obviously a themed animal or a character that needs that outfit. It belongs to them. But if this bunny had had like a tutu or a t-shirt, I'm selling it separate. I've done whole videos on this topic. Strip your Build-A-Bears naked and sell everything separately. You will make a lot more money that way. You can start some of the most basic and generic Build-A-Bear clothes at $12. And then you're selling the animal on top of that. So don't forget to strip your bears and also add words. I do this with all bunnies and rabbits. I add Easter. I add spring. I add just anything that's going to help you sell it. Put it in the title. That is valuable real estate where you want to pack in as many good keywords as you can to get your item sold, right? And don't be afraid of Build-A-Bears. I know people are like, oh, they're poop. They're not. I cannot preach it enough. Y'all know how I get about my silver jeans? That's how I get about my Build-A-Bears. They're not quite as high-end or expensive in comparison, but they're not poop. Build-A-Bear is not a poop brand. It's just not. You can actually send these back to the factory and have them refilled and repaired. Even if you buy them used online, you can take them into the mall and have them repaired. They're very, very decent stuffed animals. It's a really good brand to purchase for resale, and there's people that collect them. I'm up on my soapbox today about the Build-A-Bears, aren't I? Just keep your cost of goods on them around $1 or less unless they're really super special, because most of them this size are going to be a little more weight on them. Here we have a bulldog with a heart. Him is a Valentine's Day plush, and I have to talk about him like that because him is so cute. Him is a dandy Valentine's Day bulldog. He's just so stinking cute. He did sell right before Valentine's Day. Imagine that. Make sure you're putting all those holidays in your keywords. Speaking of, not just the Easter. Here we have a Christmas sock monkey. Speaking of sock monkeys and speaking of holidays, I gotta have all those good keywords in there, and sock monkeys do well. This is Gallery. That's a solid bread and butter brand. Here we have a vintage plush that I just tried. He was 50 cents. He was local. You can see on his tag he's made right here in Pennsylvania. And I found him for 50 cents. But he is about 3 or 4 years old. So he's been around for a while. I was happy to see him find his new forever home. He did have damage on his eyes. I thought he was going to comp a little bit higher or be worth just a little bit more because of him being so vintage and such a unique brand, BJ toy. But nah. That's okay. He got his new forever home. Eat more chicken, folks. Okay, so these Chick-fil-A cows, I got a couple things to say about them. If you can find them at the bins and you can pay for them by weight, then I would source them. If they come in a wholesale box, if they come in a lot, if you see them in a bag of plush, get them. But if you're going to buy them individually, I would avoid them because even at 50 cents, they sell for between $8 to $12. So even at 50 cents, it's kind of like, eh. But if I pay 10 cents for it, or it was just thrown into a wholesale lot with other plush that are worth a lot more money, then I want them. Especially if you can find a bunch of them at once. When we first started reselling, we found 8 of these at the beds, 2 of each, 4 different kinds, and we just lotted them up in groups of 4. If you can do that, they're very, very tiny. They don't weigh much. So you can do whole lots of these, and people will buy them because people out there collect these cows and they want one of each one. It's just that each cow individually is only going to sell for $8 to $10, but they do sell, and they sell fast. It's better to lot them up, and it's better to get them for as cheap as you can. Here's another Wild Republic, the realistic looking plush. This one is a wolf. You can see I just showed you on the tag where it says K&M International. This one had writing on the tush tag. I didn't really take any money off of my starting price for that because it's not really taking any value away from the plush like writing on his face would have. But you can always factor that in if you want to take a little bit off your price. If there's writing on the tush tag, always put it in the photos and always disclose it so your buyer knows what they're getting. This wolf is really cute. He didn't comp as high as I'd like him to. Like I said, a lot of the Wild Republic comps pretty low for bread and butter, like low bread and butter prices. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know down below. Thanks for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.